And on today's show, how acting as a facilitator gains greater participation with women. Part 3 of this week's series on what women want from financial advisors. With nationally recognized woman strategist, adult educator, and adjunct professor at Roosevelt University, Dr. Barb Provost. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to InsMark, Life Specs, and Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to day 3, Dr. Barb.
Hi, Steve.
Wow, I gotta say, if you've missed our first 2 shows, you should watch them in succession because you're gonna be out of the loop today because we're gonna kind of drop you into the show and hopefully you've been watching so that you haven't missed anything. So you need to go back out, watch show 1 and 2 before you get to today. And today we're talking about being a facilitator. Now, I don't want to be a salesman. I want to be an engager. Today we're talking about, I don't know if I want to be so much a teacher. Children have teachers, right?
Yes, they do.
But facilitators, adults really like facilitators. Tell me, what's the yin and the yang of that?
Okay. Well, when children go to school, we consider them empty vessels that we need to fill lots of good information, all the foundational stuff, the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s. And so we even see in a lot of classrooms where all the chairs face the front and the teacher is at the front and she's going to give all the information to the students and download it to them. Now with facilitation, it's very different. So when adults come to a learning situation, they bring tons of experience, knowledge, education, information to the classroom, and a facilitator needs to know how to pull that information from who's at the table and use that information in dialogue.
Okay, so a lot of our advisors do public seminars. Some do radio, some do television. I do online. So we have different formats, and we're assuming that adults have so much experience, so much life events in their life, that they already have a lot of things that we can kind of play to and actually speak and address. Some people say, I'm glad to hear you say that, Dr. Bob, because I don't want to be a teacher, right? But at the same time, I want to be a facilitator that has some kind of educational prowess. I
Sure.
have a little of this. So show me how does that work if I'm going to be a facilitator in a women's setting? I'm trying to engage a setting here. What does a facilitator look like? What does he act like?
So a facilitator will often come in and learn a little bit about the audience. Open the dialogue in terms of what brings you to the learning today, just like we talked about the finance, what brings you here today, get people talking about what it is that they need from the learning or the education that's going to be going on. And then you get an idea of where are they starting from? What do they know already? What kind of experience is already in the room? And you're thinking about how can I leverage this information and knowledge that's already in the room? And it's asking good questions in dialogue and pulling from their information, pulling from their expertise, and letting them be part of the learning and learn from one another.
When I'm thinking about how we engage with adults in a live scenario, especially I've been a facilitator at many public seminar, I'm always trying to figure out how to make them feel so comfortable that they're okay with asking questions, that they don't feel dumb. How do I do that?
A lot of times it depends on the setting and the size. So if you have 200 people, that's pretty intimidating for anyone to ask a question. If you're in a much smaller group, you can build a little bit more of a rapport with them, one-on-one, get to know them. You know them, they know you, and you can build a little bit more banter back and forth. Also, I do want to mention that sometimes there's a big difference between communicating information to people and facilitating information to people. And the difference in that is that you might be telling people a lot of information that they may need, but facilitating is different. It's getting them to really go deeper with the information, understand, and use the information.
Now, if I'm and I have done this once or twice in my career where I had an all-female audience, and I'm the facilitator. In that specific one that I'm thinking of now, I was more of an MC than more of a facilitator.
Right.
I just was kind of introducing people and in and out and questioning like we're doing on our show. I want to know, because I know that so many of our advisors say, I do recognize that the purse strings of America are now going to be predominantly women, and it's going to be run by women in the country in itself from a financial point of view. It's all going this way. The trends show it.
Yeah, it's happening now.
So I need to become a facilitator. I need to create an engagement setting, and I need to be able to make my atmosphere so comfortable that people will be okay with asking questions, even if they're rudimentary.
Yes.
So I guess what I'm thinking about is how do I keep people involved when we're in a public setting like that, or even facilitating on a one-on-one? I want involvement. I want engagement. How do I create that?
It's building an atmosphere of trust. So if you sometimes if you're up on a stage right away, that whole atmosphere of somebody on the stage, that's the knowledge holder, the person with all of the information. And just being on that platform holds you up as kind of the higher entity. So there might be some better way to situate the room, where maybe somebody is walking around the room, maybe people are in small round tables where they're having discussions, and you could be roaming around that room on the same area, the same floor as them, and then asking questions of the table in smaller settings.
When we come back from the break, I want to talk about these techniques, specific facilitator techniques that you have addressed in some of the things I've heard you talk about before. We'll be right back, right after the break.